The all dressed up and going nowhere ghosts. A question that ghost researchers are trying to answer. If ghosts are residual human spirit energy, why do their full-bodied manifestations so often include the societal convention of clothing? From an article in Fate magazine. 1. The body electric. Because we are, oddly, in the flesh, so relentlessly electric, full of pulses and charges and static, even the occasional spark, and because the body is so immutably 3/4 water, it's a wonder that a lot of us are around for as long as we are, always pushing our luck. We're the live radio in the bathtub. And because the body generates electromagnetic energy, a field that must conform to the body's actual contours, then, more days than not, that energy has to look remarkably like us. What fervent 19th century spiritualists insisted on calling the etheric body may be more like an animated jello mold of whoever we are, corporeally speaking. And when the body dies, and there's nothing else in the world we can think of, we give up the ghost as literally as possible. And who's to say that part of us, suddenly left to its own otherworldly devices, isn't exceedingly conscious with newfangled metabolic power? If disembodied spirits have a sense of self-control and can rearrange their energy any way they want to, eyewitnesses might see those dispositions as the spirits see themselves. Paler shades of human beings, maybe, but no less modest for that, no less self-conscious than ever, and so wearing clothes. They've dressed for the occasion as a way of helping us too, we who are still living and so often seem to need it. They're hoping to be recognized for exactly who they are this time, and that, by their clothing, we shall know them. 2. A less than full-bodied experience. Ghosts that can't quite manage human forms don't worry about getting dressed. They do what they can as energy less fully realized, more abstracted than defined. A fleeting light, a vapor, a haze, an inexplicable mist, or, even more vaguely, a whisper of air, a sudden cold spot in a room where the intangible might be absorbing heat in an effort to energize further, to manifest itself as anything, even the slightest bit visible. And it just so happens we've wished for that kind of viability ourselves, whole days and nights of trying, and we understand. A lack of attire is the least of their problems. If you're an orb, you already know you haven't got a thing to wear. But still, when researchers are ghosting at the next night's haunting grounds, presuming ghosts will always show up better in the dark, they should try a more sartorial approach, along with the requisite latest in spook-finder electronics, the magnetic field meters, thermal imaging cameras, motion-sensitive digital video recorders. They should be equipped with needle and thread, some scissors, an infrared sewing machine, a few bolts of cloth, a nice cotton, maybe, material that breathes. Bring a haberdasher, a milliner, a tailor. Show the spirit something drop-dead gorgeous in a 42 long, in a form-fitting Angora sweater, in a snazzy snap-brim hat with a feather in the band, anything a cut above the usual thrift store spectral garb. Something they might gladly consent to be seen in, now and again, if only they can pull themselves together, somehow try this whole new image on for size. 3. Unfinished business. One school of spirit realm thought says ghosts don't see themselves as dead. There wasn't enough time to try on that idea and live with it, even for a day. They were taken somehow by surprise, or else they surely would have packed a change of clothes. They act as if they're feeling more alive than ever, flying in the face of the incredibly long odds against their being anything more than illustrations of our mostly wishful thinking. When spirits linger here among us, it's likely some troubling matter of unfinished business, apparently no small thing when you're a ghost. Many hauntings have been known to stop completely when someone still alive discovers what's been left behind, undone. An unaccomplished mission no ghost can possibly see through alone, and manages to finish what was started another lifetime away. In movies, it's always dramatic, finally bringing a killer to justice, or raising the houses so heedlessly built on ancient burial grounds. In real life, it's not necessarily as noble as all that. And it's never a porn star ghost with unfinished business in the bedroom, a full-body apparition that could actually be convincing. Too often, it's that monk in his trademark cowl and shapeless vestments, or another lost Confederate soldier in faded gray, or the widow eternally staring through her funereal veil at what passes for the world. And plenty of children, of course, dressed in those ludicrous, impossible 18th and 19th century children's clothes that make them look especially frightening, disturbingly so much older than they ever grew to be. Then there's the late Uncle Bud, conspiracy thinking's most dogged disciple. Not orb or intermittent light, neither completely transparent nor translucent, but rather my as opaque as ever uncle. Sometimes he's not all there, but I can usually make out his quintessential features. That ubiquitous overcoat and fedora, to this day amazingly intact. He's been to the other side and halfway back, and if he's any more illuminated now, he doesn't show it. And it's nothing he can say. Clearly, he's unshrouded the mystery of a lifetime. When it comes to death, he's in the know, and maybe he's also discovered where the rest of the bodies are buried, and who's better off and by how much, not knowing. If I'm supposed to help my uncle finish what he couldn't, expound upon his arcane findings, present his madcap theories to the world, whose deepest covert workings he made it his daily business to uncover, I have no idea where to start. He'd always thought of himself as a scientist of conspiracy, working his way toward the elusive, unified, inside job theory of everything. He's so far out of the mortal loop now, he probably can't believe it. And since he isn't talking, who's to say, after what he's been through lately, that things aren't somehow different with him? Maybe now he's conceded there's a ghost of a chance that JFK was shot by only Oswald. The United States really did land a few men on the moon. Space aliens didn't come close to crash landing in the desert outside Roswell. And there has never, ever been a pill you could put in the gas tank and get 200 miles to the miraculous gallon. And the they who weren't about to let slip with any of this hush-hush news is, in sad fact, just a lowercase they who really don't understand a single whisper more than anyone else, who couldn't cover up something even as small as a sleeping baby. I helped Bud one other time in both our lives that I remember, 1957, when he built his homemade secret weapon, an unlikely light beam contraption he swore would bring down that upstart of a Russian satellite. And if my assistance now could mean he wouldn't be coming back this way, as often or at all, then I guess I'm not about to make that happen. I'd rather not live in any world unhaunted by his cockeyed likes. It would be a more orderly and ordinary world, the one Bud secretly feared and never admitted, where people wake up and get dressed for another day of business as usual, and my Uncle Bud, triumphant in defiance, with none of that kind of clothing to his honorable name. 4. To each ghost, its own style. If I have anything at all to say about it, when I get my ghostly marching orders, I'll be the one in the Loch Ness Monster t-shirt and flying saucer baseball cap, making my spirited rounds of the places I've haunted all my life. Junk shops, flea markets, second-hand bookstores, the back booth at White Castle. Maybe even the long-gone Idle Hour Lounge, which so deserves its rematerialization out of the ether that every no-frills tavern eventually is doomed to. Like some crazy taproom version of the accursed Flying Dutchman, but on calmer neighborhood seas, with massive Larry at the helm, as always, and nothing but blessings in the air. I'll be a regular swell of a ghost, something, finally, for anyone to believe in, absolutely. I'll show up in photographs as substantially more than a reflection or smudge on the lens. I'll stick around for more than a few seconds at a time. I'll do the phantom bells and whistles. I'll be so outgoing, no one would ever guess it was me, if not for my wardrobe. Surely a dead giveaway. And as for the Bigfoot slippers I've been forever hunting, so I can pad around perfectly quiet when I want to, I'll work on making those myself through my sheer electromagnetic will. 5. For every ghost, a solid reason why. Because there's a chill in the air like you wouldn't believe, between here and there, between this life and, with any luck, the next one. And given what some people swear they've seen, it might take a while to get there, even as our mostly energetic selves. Dressed in something that still fits, that's warm enough this time, so we won't catch our death all over again.